That was your Zemo Cut techno song. For those who watched last week's episode yesterday, I talked about that. In Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 3, Baron Zemo and Sam and Bucky went to a club with Sharon and were dancing, and they had a quick review on the show of Zemo dancing, typical white boy, stuff like that. But it was just a small 2-second bit, so you could laugh about that. In an interview, though, about the episode, Daniel Bruhl, who plays Baron Zemo, said, yeah, there's an actually longer cut of it, and people were like, oh, we want to see this one. So Disney Plus, to promote the show, released the Zemo cut, because there was a trending hashtag called Release the Zemo Cut, and it's a 30-second edition of Daniel Bruhl doing the white man dance at the techno club, and that was the music they were using. It was actually freaking hilarious. It's one of the funniest videos you've ever seen. If you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and check it out. Should be on YouTube. There's an hour-long version of it, which is just the same thing looped. That was just the original. That's the original promo they used for the show. So I think it's hilarious. So that's why I wanted to play it, because we're going to talk about the Zemo Cut today on a brand new episode of Dylan Knows, episode 397. We begin at the end. Not the end of the show, because I'm still not going to end the show yet, but we are going to begin at the end with Wynonna Earp's series finale on Sci-Fi. I'll talk about that. I'll talk about some more movie date changes. We're going to talk about how there were a couple of crazy days this week. Not crazy as in bad, but crazy like, a lot of stuff happened, couple of big time deaths. We'll learn a little bit about Pepsi Blue and Gravy, Police, Mountain Dew, Paul Rudd, Eggos, more Peeps, even though Easter's over. More Marvel stuff starting this week. Community Day, which is happening as we speak at this moment. Jimmy Dean, Jason Momoa. Okay, I know what that is. A constellation is getting eaten by our Milky Way. Oregon Trail game is 50 years old. A Prince is in the news again. That's right. And Facebook is screwing me over very badly. We need to look into a rule book about something that happened on a golf course. And some teasers for Star Trek and stuff like that. So we've got, again, it's another short kind of week because due to the fact that I was going to say we're going to begin at the end, but in this case, I'm just going to throw this out there. Facebook, for whatever reason, appears to have banned me from sharing anything for at least, it's been 2 days now, 2 or 3 days where I've been unable to share anything. Now I can write, how I'm feeling, how you are, and I can send my trailers of the day, stuff like that. And there are some times where I can share stuff from groups onto my page, but I cannot share just regular stuff, which is pissing me off because it's my bread and butter for this show. So I was fighting that for a couple of days, and I have a new way now where if you like it, it shows up on my activity log, so I can like something and click back on and take a look at it. It's a pain in the ass. You just go boop, 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 boop. You got you got to click on the link and then look at it and then click back off and then go to the next one. So it's a pain in the butt instead of just spawning out there. So I just figure I'll wait and see what happens. I'll keep checking every day to see how long I'm banned or if I'm banned forever as possible. I don't know what I did. I don't know if one of those fucking a-hole Republican a-fuck QAnon shitheads who don't like what I have to say decided to say, hey, we should ban this guy because he's a fucking hate speaker. Well, you can fuck off if that is the case. And there's one specific person I'm talking about, but I'm not going to say anything right now. And to be honest, I mean, I haven't been sharing any more than I usually have. I mean, when the Zemo cut came out, I shared it like 3 or 4 times, but I've done that before when major deaths have happened. I've shared the same story like 3 or 4 times in a row, and I've never gotten banned before. So I think someone complained about me and they're banning me. I don't know if it's going to be for a month, a year, forever. 5 days, 3 days. I mean, it's been, as I said, 2 days so far, and I still can't share anything. So kind of pissed off. And I keep sending stuff to them saying, hey, why is this happening? And they don't respond because they're a bunch of fucking cake-hole motherfuckers who are in on their fucking QAnon Republican bullshit. So fuck you, Facebook, and fuck you, Republican fuck faces who fucked with me and my Facebook, you fuckers. I have no doubt about that. It's that one specific fuck face who I fucking hate. So, God damn it, I'm so fucking angry, and it's just beginning here. So let's talk about some other good stuff here. Today's episode 397. We begin at the end. Of course, I began at the end of my rope with this stupid fucking Facebook bullshit. Ban fucking asshole bullshit crap. Republican dickhead conservative fucks. All right, I'm done now. But Wynonna Earp, which based on a comic book, was a TV show that was on the Sci-Fi Channel. It lasted technically 3 seasons for Sci-Fi, and then the rabid fan base actually went crazy. They bought billboards. They sent letters to Sci-Fi. They pressured them and said, we want some more. So they said, okay, let's just give them what they want. So they gave them another season. So it gave the Wynonna Earp crew a chance to close it out on their terms, and if it was successful, they could start a whole new story arc if they go to a 5th season. But as of now, the episode that aired on, I believe it was Thursday, is the series. It's a shame because it was actually a really entertaining show that my wife and I actually watched together almost the entire first season, and then I think we missed one episode, and we just never went back and back up on it and didn't watch the pertaining seasons. Now it's on Netflix now. The first 3 seasons are on Netflix, so we can always catch up that way now. And I want to because I have read all the Wikipedia descriptions and I kind of want to get into it. But the big thing about Wynonna Earp was it's such a great show because it's such a small, tight-knit group of cast who absolutely love each other. They're all over Twitter. They're always talking about it. They talk about how much they love themselves, how they love not themselves, but love their partners in crime, their writer, producer, creator, Emily Andras. And it is one of the first shows out there that treats a lesbian relationship as not just, hey, we're doing a lesbian relationship. It's as a real relationship. And it built and it came about in a very specific way in the first season, and it lasted through the whole 4 seasons with, spoiler alert, the season finale had Waverly Earp and Nicole Haught, sheriff of the town, tying the knot after all the ups and downs they've gone through. It's such a great show. Wynonna is a damaged person who wanted to get away from her town of Purgatory, which is actually filmed in Alberta, Canada. The show's filmed in Alberta, Canada. So it seemed like every season it was winter. There was complete white snow on the ground and just constant cold. And that's what you were trying to, I think they were trying to show with how awful Purgatory actually is. And she is related, Wynonna Earp and Waverly Earp are related to the Earp, as in Wyatt Earp. But we learned that Wyatt Earp was actually sent here to destroy demonic people. And technically, the gun he has, Peacemaker, is a demonic weapon. It's the only thing that can kill these demonic creatures. And it passes along the bloodline. And it was there was one other, I forget the third sister. There was a third sister who was the oldest, who was supposed to be the one who was going to continue the lineage, but she disappeared. And so it dropped to Wynonna, who is the middle child, even though she didn't want the job. So she ran away from her responsibilities, leaving Waverly alone in Purgatory, in this town filled with demonic people who look like regular people but are not nice people. But she ran the bar with this one woman, and Wynonna eventually had to make her way back because I think her uncle died and they wanted to go to the funeral, and she got sucked into going back to working in purgatory, where there was also a federal agency called the Black Badges who were there because of the supernatural stuff. And Dolls was the handler who hired Winona to be there, like to have them work together to clear out purgatory of these demonic beings. And it was in really intense shows. I mean, they had good humor and action sequences, and we also have Doc Holliday, who was cursed by a witch, to come back and is now out and about and running around and helping the Earps as well, and he's great also. And then Nicole Halt comes in. She was, at the time, she was the assistant sheriff, the deputy, and she's an out lesbian. We know right away that she's a lesbian. She says it right out. And at the time, Waverly is dating these loser guys because that's what she thinks she's supposed to do. And that's where she's living in a small town, you know, that's all she's got to handle. But she eventually reasserts herself and starts getting attention paid to her by Nicole, who is crushing on her. And eventually, Waverly has a sort of, let's just see what happens here, you know, just to test the waters here. And her and Nicole start a relationship, and it slowly builds into a great love. To be honest, it's the great love of the show, despite the fact that people were trying to shoehorn Winona Earp and Doc Holliday together because he had a thing for her also. And she, as I said, is a wild woman, so she's, you know, all confused and damaged and all over the place. And so she likes him and doesn't like him and sleeps with him and then hates him and stuff like that. It's one of these weird things. But, you know, then things continue. They did kind of jump the shark a little bit. Well, they had to, because Melanie Scarfano, who played Winona, got pregnant in real life. So the show, Emily Andress decided she was going to write the pregnancy into the show, and made her and Doc have a baby named Alice. I don't know what happened with Alice, because she doesn't, I don't think, make an appearance again. And they mention, but they don't forget about it, because I think they mention her in the finale in this one. And then Dolls has his own issues, and there's a, you know, charismatic bad guy named Bobo who is trying to take over the town, and just all kinds of just crazy. You can have the mythology stuff that you usually have, and then you have the demons of the week sort of stuff. So it was a great show, and I'm really disappointing that I stopped watching, because it is the actors and actresses and the creative staff absolutely loved working with each other. Alberta, Canada loved having them there. They loved working there. The stories that they tell are outstanding. I haven't heard of a single bad story from Winona Earp. Not that a lot of people have been watching it, but. And it was enough so that the finale actually trended on Twitter, which was something that people weren't expecting. But it was due to the fan base that got this fourth season out, so they could wrap up all the loose ends that they needed to. So it's one of those shows that I really need to go back in and do a deep dive on, and highly recommend it for you also, because it is a really good you know, representation of a lesbian relationship, and it's treated like a regular relationship. It's as if it's you know, what you expect from a drama when you have a romance. You know, they have their ups and downs, you know, and they treat it as like it's a regular romance, which is what you're supposed to do, because that's all it is. It doesn't matter if it's between two men, two women, or a man and a woman. It really doesn't matter. But and it was very strong female characters. I mean, basically the entire cast, for the most part, of the lead cast are females, with the exception of Dolls and Doc. And then Dolls actually ends up getting killed, and they bring in another male, but no, but that's it. I mean, and then the bad guys also tend to be, you know, mostly you know, male, but there's a few female bad guys in there. And you do a little bit of history of Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday, how he was in the Old West and stuff like that. And so you get a little bit of everything, and it's a fantastic show. And I'm really, really disappointed in myself for falling behind on it. Now, Sci-Fi has always had a really good rapport with these types of shows, and another one that I really, really enjoyed was Being Human, where I saw every episode of that one. And the finale, when that hit me, that one, they tore all it was a massive tearjerker. They sucked the tears out of you, and apparently this is what the same thing with Winona Earp's and the finale. And the final scene, they say, is absolutely should go down in history. So a good show, and highly recommend it. If you have never heard of it, if you're looking for a new show to watch, check out Winona Earp. It's on Netflix. First three seasons are on Netflix. The fourth season just ended on Sci-Fi, so I would assume probably within the next few months it will drop onto Netflix, as long as they keep the license to keep airing it. And I hope they do, because I need to get caught up on it, and I really do. I've got a weekend coming up where I was maybe going to watch movies. Maybe I'll get caught up on Winona. But I mean, they're hour-long episodes. There's 4 seasons, and there's about 13 episodes per season. So we're looking at about 52 episodes that I have to go through. It's 52 hours. I don't think that's enough time, even if I just sat and watched it straight from Friday to Sunday. I mean, I don't think I'd even make it, and that would be like no sleep to watch the whole thing. So, and besides, I kind of want to rewatch it with my wife again, because she enjoyed it as well, and maybe get my kids involved with it too. So there was that. So that's good. Speaking of TV shows, the Loki dropped a new trailer this week, showing more of what's going to be coming in the new Disney Plus show coming out in June, and getting me more and more excited about it. If you have not checked it out, it is absolutely brilliant. And he and what's his name from Wedding Crashers? God, I had the same brain fart earlier. It's where's the cast? Owen Wilson, yes. Owen Wilson actually looks like he's having a good time doing the show, and he and Tom Hiddleston seem to be having a nice rapport with each other, and they're really jumping around in the time travel and the alternate dimension stuff. So that's kind of a neat idea. So it's definitely worth your while to check it out and get really excited about the show. Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 4 dropped on Friday. Some minor spoilers coming up, because it was a game changer. The group has found the whereabouts of Carrie, who is the Flag Smasher, and Sam is trying to convince them to let him go in to talk to her, because he has experience, talking people down, being, a PTSD advisor. We meet him in Winter Soldier, and we also see, John comes in, and John Walker comes in and wants to destroy everything, and but they have a discussion. Sam and Carrie have a really good discussion. And they discover the super soldier serum, and Zemo is able to destroy all of them with the exception of one, which John picks up and then injects in himself, because he gets his ass kicked by the Dara Minaj, who are the Black Panther's bodyguards, who showed up at the end of last episode and play a bigger role in this one, because they want to kill Zemo, and they come in, and John is sort of like, gets in their way and doesn't think that they have any right to attack Zemo and take him, and so they get in a fight, and he gets his ass kicked, and he feels like he's too weak to do this, so he injects himself with super soldier serum, because he also has to feel that he is not getting the respect as Captain America, and so he wants to be just like Captain America. So he injects the serum in him, which is something that happened in the comics. And of course, he's already going psychotic. This makes him a little bit even more psychotic. During that battle, Zemo is able to sneak out and get away from Sam and Bucky. So he's disappeared. They don't know where he is, and Sam has almost got connected to Carrie when John came in, and she thinks that Sam was lying to her, and so she doesn't trust him anymore, and that pisses off Sam, and so they're able to find her. Actually, she finds him again, because she says, I think that there was something there, and so she threatens his sister. If you tell anyone else besides Sam where I am, I will kill you and your children, and gives the exact locations of where they are, and that pisses Sam off, and so he goes in there, guns a-blazing also. But again, John and Battlestar screw all that up, and in the end, they get into the fight with the super soldiers, and Carrie knocks Battlestar into a like a pillar and breaks his neck and kills him. And that John, having ingested the super soldier serum, goes absolutely crazy. Carrie disappears, but he goes after Carrie's male like right-hand man, who also has the power, and they fight a little bit, but John is incensed, so he knocks the guy down outside in front of lots of cameras and takes a shield and smashes the guy, basically almost cuts his neck off, just keeps pounding it into the guy till he's dead. There's blood on the shield. People are taking pictures of all this. Everybody's seeing how crazed he is. And that was also directly from the comics as well. So a lot of that going on. Sharon made a quick appearance. She seems to have access to tracking equipment, so she was able to find John. And that was really all she does in the episode. And I said it was just really them trying to find Carrie. They found Carrie. They have a discussion. Sam has a discussion with her. The Dara Minaj came, get into a little fight. John ingests the super soldier serum, and they get into another fight, and John's partner Battlestar gets killed, and he kills Carrie's partner. So, and Carrie gets away again. So, and now the power broker is threatening Carrie again also. So all kinds of fun stuff happening. So it's moving right along. Now the next episode, episode 5, which comes out on Friday, which I might watch without my family around because they're going to be gone. They will. It's supposed to be 61 minutes long, and there's supposed to be a surprise cameo, which it could be anything. I'm not expecting. After they were screaming that there was going to be a surprise cameo in WandaVision, it turned out no. It was after everyone knew Evan Peters was there. It was after that. It was supposed to be someone that everyone thought Doctor Strange was going to roll in because everyone knew that Wanda was going to be there. But apparently, it was just White Vision was the other cameo. So nothing really spectacular. And we've already had Rhodey in this episode, so there's really not a lot of people who it can be that I can think of. They're not going to get Chris Evans to come in as Captain America. That's not going to happen. So you just drop that, and there's really no one else that's probably connected to them in any way, shape, or form that could be considered a huge cameo, because having Doctor Strange there wouldn't make any sense. Having Banner there wouldn't make any sense. Having Iron Man there, well, he's dead, wouldn't make any sense. Maybe Hawkeye, possibly, maybe, but I doubt that because he's too busy doing his show. So I don't think that's going to happen. Black Widow's dead. Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor are off in outer space. That's not going to happen. So it's one of those things that, well, we'll see what happens. I mean, Rhodey made the most sense, or it could be William Hurt's character. General Thunderbolt Ross could be him, because there's rumors that he was going to help create the Thunderbolts, which Baron Zemo is a part of. And Hawkeye technically is a part of the Thunderbolts also, so it could potentially be Jeremy Renner, but I don't expect that to be. So take that with a grain of salt. We'll see what happens. April 5th was a big day. It was National Caramel Day. It was First Contact Day from Star Trek. First Contact was April 5th, like 2063, which was shown in the movie Star Trek First Contact. It's REM Day. REM played their first ever concert as a band on April 5th, 1980. So all that happened on April 5th. And because it was First Contact Day, I guess Paramount now, who owns the CBS show and the Star Trek shows, decided to release teasers for Discovery's new season and Picard season 2. And the Picard season 2 teaser trailer teases, drumroll please, John Delancey's Q coming back to Picard in season 2, which makes absolutely perfect sense to have him roll in there. So that'll be fun to see that come to fruition, as it will, as it's wont to be. So that should be a pretty good thing to do. Regal Cinemas, we have one up in Hunt Valley, are all going to be opening up their movie theaters on April 23rd, full business. So slowly but surely, the movies are getting back together. I think I have the Godzilla uh, since I'm on here, let me see if I can just find. Let's see if I can find if it has the box office numbers. I don't think. Oh yeah, there is. Godzilla versus Kong nets $48.5 million in theaters. $48.5 million in theaters, which is very impressive considering how COVID has shut down most of the movie theaters. So the fact that it made a decent amount of money, and more so than, Wonder Woman came out in movie theaters, it only made $24 million. Tenet came out in movie theaters, it made like $25 million also, which seemed to be the average when it came to stuff like that. And you get this movie, Godzilla vs. Kong, making $48.5 million. That is a really good sign that people will go back to the movie theaters, despite the fact that the movie was also released at the same time on HBO Max, which was a point of contention. People want to see how that's going to be. Is that going to be the case for everything? We'll see, and it's a different story because I think that's free on HBO Max, whereas when Black Widow comes out July 9th, it'll be released in theaters and Disney Plus at the same time, but you have to access it through Disney Plus's $30 window. So you have to pay $30 to unlock Black Widow, which is basically the same price if you went with like your wife and yourself, or your I shouldn't say wife, your partner and yourself to go see the movie theaters, and you got food and stuff like that, and that would be about the right price. So we'll see what happens with that. But $48.5 million generated at movie theaters, still a lot of them closed down due to COVID, is a really good sign that the movie theater business should be maybe making a good comeback. And more and more movies are moving up their dates a little bit to get into that prime June time slot. There's only a handful coming in May, but they might still do pretty good as well. So this summer should be really interesting to see how things go. But the fact is, Regal Cinemas will be opening April 23rd, which is about a week and a half before the official start of the summer season, which is usually the first weekend in May, which is normally when Black Widow would be. But because they moved that back there, I don't think anything's taken over that spot. But I think the first summer movie is the Spiral movie, the Saw reboot with Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. So we will check that out as well. Baseball season is underway, and the Orioles are doing the Orioles stuff. They started off hot, and now they're getting shitty. I think they have won one game in the last 6. So their record is now going to be, I think, because they're losing now 9-1. I think they're going to be 4-5 after today, and got swept at home by the Red Sox, who they swept in Fenway to begin the season. So we'll see what happens. But the main thing is, female Cub fans started fighting each other for some reason, and it's all caught on videotape. Meanwhile, some dudes nearby them are puking. So yes, baseball season is back. Fights and puking and drinking and all kinds of crazy stuff. New dinosaurs found in Patagonia, and they are nicknaming it the one who causes fear. So obviously it's a deadly, ferocious type of dinosaur that you would not want to meet whenever you want. NASA released a bunch of really interesting pictures from their Mars rover lander Perseverance this week. One shows clouds in the sky, which is kind of interesting to see what clouds on Mars look like. I didn't think there would be clouds on Mars, but hey, what do I know? But there are apparently, and typical, they look like ours. But I thought that clouds mostly form due to water vapor, but I guess other clouds can form. I guess Venus has clouds also, so I guess so does Titan. So I suppose other stuff can create clouds as well. But there were clouds photographed on Mars, and they also released a picture that looked like a rainbow on Mars. And people were justifiably confused about that. And it even looks, as far as people saying, is like, you're not really on Mars, are you? You're like in Arizona or something like that. Well, apparently discovered that it's actually was some kind of lens flare that made it look like it was a rainbow over Mars. But it's still an interesting picture, even though we know it is not real. There have been a lot of questionable pictures coming from this lander, and I'm not sure exactly how I feel about it. There was one that came out a couple weeks ago which showed supposedly Mars at night, and you could see nothing but stars. And I guess that would obviously make sense with no lights. on Mars above ground. And really no atmosphere. So it would so your sky would be, literally look like you're looking at a planetarium ceiling, but it just seemed a little fake to me. And I haven't seen that picture since. Same with the rainbow thing. I was like, that's it. I think there's more to it than a lens flare, because lens flare is usually just like a little, this looks like a fully formed rainbow overhead. So either they're lying, either they are on Earth, or either they are not revealing what they've discovered about Mars, that there might actually be stuff that could cause rainbows. And then the cloud picture looked kind of hinky also. It's like, that almost looks like it's on Earth also. So I don't know. And on top of that, the helicopter, it's this inquest, I guess, was supposed to be launched on Monday, but I think I read somewhere it's now not supposed to go till like May 14th or something like that. I don't know what that's all about. That might just, I don't think that was from an official NASA site, because they got the helicopter out from the Perseverance, so he did float a little bit, and then he stayed out in the cold Mars atmosphere to see if he could survive in it by himself, and he did. And so they were planning a launch tomorrow, I think. So we'll find out. We'll find out next week's episode of Dylan Knows if it actually happened or not. Krispy Kreme keeps changing up their stuff. They now have an Oreo glaze you can put on their donuts, so you can get it instead of the regular glaze donut that you are used to. You can get a Oreo glaze to do that as well. Going back to Falcon Winter Soldier, before he went to Wakanda to get his keywords to trigger words to trigger him to an assassin, Bucky, who's played by Sebastian Stan, would have turned into an assassin if someone gave the keywords to him and give him immense pain. But Wakanda took it out. It's a really nice scene in this episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, which shows that to see Oyo, the Dharmanash, who was there to talk to Bucky at the end of the episode and the beginning of this one, was there to see if the removal of the code words work. So she did the code words to him, and he was freaking out because he was afraid that he was going to kill her. But he's like, you're not gonna hurt me. Let's just see if this worked. And so she did all the code words and nothing happened. So it proved that he was okay. The other neat thing about that is they also know how to remove his arm also. So if he was fighting, he was fighting back against them, to try to protect Zemo, because they need him for this whole Flag Smasher thing. But Oyo just went and boom, his arm fell off. It was hilarious. So that's great. But fans who see Sebastian Stan out and about, they sometimes approach him and they do the code words to him. So it's something that he has to deal with. I mean, that's one of the things celebrities have to deal with anyway. So it's kind of a crazy. Football's quarterback carousel continues. I talked a little bit about that a couple of weeks ago. Well, there's a new one now. The Jets, supposedly the Jets were going to have Sam Darnold was going to be their quarterback of the future, but he hasn't done really anything for them. So they have traded him to Carolina to get their early pick in the draft. So they'll probably be drafting a new quarterback of the future in this draft. So we'll see about that. After 6 years and millions of miles, a pod of some kind that I think the Japanese landed on an asteroid and took samples and then flew back to Earth has landed. So for the first time in 6 years, and it was a successful launch and return of a probe that was able to land on an asteroid, take asteroid sample, and return them to Earth. Took time, but they did it and it landed. So science moves on. Deadpool and My Hero Academia apparently have a crossover in, I guess, Deadpool manga out there now. So there is now a crossover Deadpool My Hero Academia crossover in the manga. And rumors are abounding that Ryan Reynolds is in discussions with Disney Plus to create an R-rated Deadpool animated series, which he will voice the character of Ryan Reynolds or of Deadpool, and they'll be able to, do stuff that they normally wouldn't be able to do, like in the movie. But it would be an adult animated series. So again, that goes sort of against what Disney Plus is about and for them, but they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with Deadpool because it is one of the only R-rated superhero movies out there. So they're trying to figure out what they're going to do with it now that he is now in the fold of Disney Plus. But an animated series might be interesting. I mean, the success of the Harley Quinn animated series on, I guess, HBO Max or whatever, I guess probably prompted this, and it could very well be easy peasy for them to do. A man built the biggest Nintendo Switch ever. It's about the size of a wall, massive wall, and the buttons work. So you can actually play. His controller is his giant 50 to 70 inch screen, and it's that's how he plays this. That's kind of interesting. Chadwick Boseman, who we know passed away last year, has won a posthumous SAG award. He also won the Globe, so it's looking more and more like he will probably win the Oscar this year for Best Actor. Posthumously, so that's a good sign coming up. We will find out in a couple of weeks. I said April 25th is when the Oscars will air. For fans of Thanksgiving, you know how I love myself some autumn and some fall. Thanksgiving is, I mentioned before, is an underrated holiday, and this one particularly goes out to my brother-in-law because he loves this kind of stuff. Ocean Spray, I guess, is teaming up with one of the big time gravy companies. I can see the label, but I can't think of the name of it right now, to create Cravy, which is a gravy and cranberry sauce mix sauce, because that's what people do at Thanksgiving. They mix the stuff in there. So now you can just get that spread anytime you want and put it on your turkey and relive your Thanksgiving any time of the year that you want. I think this is a joke, but again, the Snyderverse is a joke, so it probably is true. Tommy Chong, he of the Cheech and Chong, 70-plus-year-old smokers, pokers, and a good actor in his own right. I mean, he was on the 70s show and some other stuff, but he wants to play Hal Jordan in the Snyderverse, and that wasn't an April Fool's joke, because this is this week's stuff that was after April Fool's Day. So, again, the Snyderverse is a joke anyway, so maybe they'll do it. Why not? Screwed up everything else. Yeah, and speaking of that, the crappy writer of the Snyderverse, or the original Justice League movie and the Snyderverse version and the Batman Superman movie, Chris Terrio, who has won an Oscar for Argo, so he must be a really good screenwriter. He also wrote the not that great Rise of Skywalker and the shitty Batman and Superman and the Justice League movies. Says that Warner Brothers has screwed his scripts. That he didn't write these shitty scripts. It was Warner Brothers putting their hands all over it and making them all fucked up. I mean, there's always a possibility that it could be true, but to me, it just sounds like a lot of whining and bitching again from somebody who, when you try to say this guy is a terrible writer, it's like, well, he won an Oscar for Argo. Who gives a fuck? People win Oscars all the time, and they go on and they do shitty movies. Look at Nicolas Cage. He won an Oscar for Best Actor. He does shitty movies all the time, So I am so sick of reading about Snyderverse and Justice League bullshit, but it's everywhere. And I've tried muting it, stuff like that, but it's everywhere. And this is just the next step, that these are just a bunch of whiny little baby bitches who are trying to get their way and trying to convince everybody that the shit that they peddled and did is not actually shit, because Warner Brothers is a shit company. And that seems kind of a bad way to do things, because if you're blaming a major distribution company of being shitty to your scripts, guess what? They're not going to fucking work with you again. And look, your history shows you won an Oscar for Argo. Good for you, Chris Terrio. But you also wrote the shitty Justice League movie. You wrote the shitty Batman and Superman movie. And you wrote the shitty Rise of Skywalker movie. Again, the defenders are like, well, that was J.J. Abrams. He had his hands on it. No, Terrio's script is still there. He still did that shit. He's trying to gaslight you motherfuckers to make you believe that he is the greatest Academy Award writer ever, and that, you know, the movies that he wrote, these Snyderverse movies, would have been Oscar nominated, greatest comic book movies of all time, if not for Warner Brothers fucking them up. Well, fuck you, Chris Terrio, and fuck you, Snyderverse. You're a bunch of fucking tools anyway who can't even control your fucking toxic fans. So fuck you guys. And I don't want to hear a single fucking thing about either of you ever again. So fuck off. A show that I do want to see based on a comic book that has been all over the place and has gone through many different cycles, and you're always wondering if it's ever even going to come out. Well, the FX version of Y the Last Man, which has been going through so much stuff that it's absolutely insane how much stuff it's been going through, has finally released some footage of their series. So it's on its way. So we'll see if they can get the essence and the feel for the property and the stuff like that. So we'll see what happens about that. Pepsi Blue, which actually I didn't mind too much. I kind of liked it. Possibly could be coming back this summer. It was in more of a wild berry flavored Pepsi, which actually was pretty tasty. I liked it, and wouldn't mind seeing it again. Men are turning beards into flower bouquets for springtime. That's just wrong. They just are able to tie their beard hair and put flowers and shit on it. It looks awful. So whatever, dude. This past Friday, we lost two completely opposite people. One, we lost Prince Philip, who was the husband of Queen Elizabeth at the age of 90 something. And we lost rapper DMX, who had gone in for some sort of heart attack and was having some issues, physically, and eventually was going to pass away. Now, people have been relating stories about DMX and showing how good he is and all the cool stuff he did. But then there's also the contrarian people who are saying, well, yeah, but he also abused animals. So, I guess both are true. Same with Prince Philip. He's done some good stuff. He's also done some really shitty stuff. So that's been sort of dominating the, over the last few days, has been dominating the headlines and stuff like that. But we also lost a bunch of other people also. Twin Peaks fans will recognize Walter Olkowicz. He played Jacques Renault and was also in the new Twin Peaks season 3, playing another Renault brother. He was also a regular on Grace Under Fire, and he was in a bunch of other movies. He died at the age of 72. James Carroll Jim Maher, this is the full name. James Carroll Jim Maher is the full name. He was a music critic. He died this week as well. Mark Elliott, a Disney voiceover artist, died at the age of 81. So he's voiced plenty of characters in Disney's cartoons. Paul Ritter, a Harry Potter, James Bond actor, died at the age of 54. He was also in Chernobyl. He was a character actor, so he didn't play any of the big roles in Harry Potter or James Bond, but he is in those movies. So he passed away this week as well. Alan Hastings was a barrier-breaking Florida Democrat, black Florida Democrat, one of the first black Democrats in the Florida legislature, died at the age of 84. Do I have any other deaths? I think that's all the deaths that I have, and that is it. Interesting week for deaths. Jack Hanna, zookeeper, has dementia, so he's probably going to be passing away fairly soon. Not to sound so aloof about it, but when you have a dementia like my grandfather had, it's only a matter of time. Eventually, your body's going to shut down, and you're going to pass away. And he's an older gentleman too, so it's still sad, but things happen. Something is killing trees on the East Coast, making a ton of ghost forests. So scientists trying to discover what's killing these giant forests along the eastern seaboard. The Powerpuff Girl live action series is starting to get underway filming, and we get the first behind the scenes picture of the actresses in their costumes. They just look like regular dresses. So we'll see how things go about that. Frank's Red Hot I put that shit on everything, has created a buffalo chicken dip you can get in the freezer aisle now. You grab it from the freezer aisle, put it in your freezer, and then you bring it out, you put it in the oven, you heat it up and cook it, and you can then have hot Frank's red hot buffalo chicken dip whenever you want. Jason Momoa is still making movies, despite now only really people knowing him from Game of Thrones or Stargate or Justice League. He is making other types of films. I'm still disappointed that he's not going to be the next Crow. I think he would have been really, really good in that, but that's besides the point. But he's presently making a movie called Slumberland for Netflix. And in it, he plays some sort of weird character who has horns. So it looks like it's going to be one of these like fantasy sort of films, and there have been a couple of pictures released, and it looks kind of interesting. So I wouldn't mind checking that one out as well. Leverage 2.0, which is going to be on the IMDb channel, and is replacing Timothy Hutton with Noah Wiley, is done filming their first season. So we shall be seeing the new Leverage 2.0 sooner than later, I would assume. April 6th was Paul Rudd's birthday. The man is 52 years old, I believe, and he looks like he's still in his 30s. And to celebrate his birthday, Ghostbusters Afterlife, which did an interview with Bill Murray in Empire Magazine, I believe, where he said that Ghostbusters Afterlife actually brings back the joy of the Ghostbusters movie, though it was a hard film for him because he had to put on the backpack and the suit again, and it was really, really hard for him being an older actor now. But he said that it lives up to the hype it's going to have, and it's going to be a really good film. He also disses Ghostbusters 2, saying that it was not the film that he signed up for, that they were changing it, and that Harold Ramis had actually written a really good story that got completely changed. No word about Dan Aykroyd. I don't know if Aykroyd had a hand in changing it up, or it was just, again, the pressure of Paramount or Universal, whoever did it, to push it. But anyway, so they released a new scene from Ghostbusters Afterlife starring Paul Rudd, and it introduces, possibly could be the new Baby Yoda. Basically, it has Paul Rudd's character going to a grocery store, getting something for dessert. He hears a scream in the grocery store, doesn't think much of it, and then finds what he needs at the grocery store, walks past the marshmallows, and then starts hearing a noise, goes back and notices the marshmallow bag is moving. It's a Stay Puft marshmallow bag, by the way. And it tears open, and there's a mini Marshmallow Man. And then another one, another, and then they all become mini Marshmallow Men, and they are cute and adorable. So they're like, "Oh, you're so cute!" And it's like filling with him, and then he bites his finger, hand, and it hurts. And then all of a sudden, a Roomba comes riding up with a whole bunch more in there. He goes over and he sees more of them, like cooking each other on grills and putting themselves on s'mores and stuff like that. So, it looks like we have the new Baby Yoda coming out. They are adorable and it's cute, so it should be interesting to check that out. Mountain Dew Revolution, which is also a wild berry flavor that's been out of circulation for about 7 years now. Looks like it'll be coming back into circulation, much like Pepsi's Pepsi Blue will be coming back into circulation. Looks like they'll be bringing theirs back this summer as well. So keep an eye out for that. Eggo stuffed pancake bites stuffed with chocolate is a new thing. I don't know if that's a good thing as well. Easter may be over, but the Peeps are still around and alive, and there is now a Peeps movie in the works. Don't know if it's going to be animated or what it's going to be about, but it is a Peeps movie will be rolling through here soon. Hostess has created crispy minis based on their popular Hostess candies, but they're crispy instead of the spongy cake stuff. A submarine crew off of the coast of Cornwall, England, is photographed enjoying a barbecue on top of their submarine in the middle of the water. Kind of fun to see that. Captain Marvel 2 starts filming next week. And Black Adam has also started filming. I talked about that on yesterday's episode. So we've got some new comic book movies making their way downtown. The head of Taurus, the constellation, is apparently being destroyed by our Milky Way. being shredded by our Milky Way. So that's something to keep an eye on. It is basically the Milky Way is moving through Taurus' star system, and it is enveloping the stars in the system and sucking it into the Milky Way. It happens. The galaxies are constantly moving, and eventually the Andromeda Galaxy and the Milky Way Galaxy are going to collapse or collide into each other millions of years away, but it's still going to happen. So it's going to happen soon. Dulce de Leche Cinnamon Toast Crunch is on its way. Fruity Pebbles Fruity Pebbles beer is also on its way, also made with real Fruity Pebbles cereal in the beer. College basketball player college baseball player hits 7 home runs in a doubleheader, which is a feat that's never really happened before. Family sues after a California man dies eating tacos in an eating competition. Ate too many, I guess, and his heart, I guess, broke down and attacked. An Arabian coin was found in Rhode Island, which made people wonder how'd that get there. And then people are now believing that it was probably due to pirates invading some Arabian ships on the coast, stealing the treasure, and somehow it's made its way up to Rhode Island. Old Navy responds to a 7-year-old girl who asked that they put pockets into their jeans. So they created jeans with pockets in it for girls. Jimmy Dean has breakfast nuggets, sausage, egg, and cheese. It's the main flavor right now. So you can have breakfast nuggets for breakfast now. Tara Reid says that there is an American Pie 5 script, and it is the best of the series. That could just be, I don't know, just pumps up. But I mean, really, after American Pie 4, which sort of tanked a little bit, do they really want another one? We'll see. Police chief is discovered to be juggling 2 wives, 3 fiancés, and 15 girlfriends, and no one knows about the other one. Sounds like the plot of a movie worth winning, except instead of it being all that, it was 3 women, and it was a weatherman, not a police officer. And it was a charming Mark Harmon and not some corrupt asshole police chief. Ming-Na Wen has the Disney, what do you call that? What is the hockey term? I forget what the hockey term is, but has the triple threat from Disney. She's been a Disney princess when she voiced Mulan. She's been a part of Marvel, being an Agents of Hat Trick, being part of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and she also has her Mandalorian character, which will be appearing in The Bad Batch, coming up May 4th, animated version of her, but she does the voice of that, but the live action version was in this recent season of The Mandalorian. So she has the hat trick of Disney, being a Disney princess, a member of the Star Wars fandom, and the Marvel fandom. So there you go. Woman discovers that her son's bride is actually her long-lost daughter. And that's just absolutely freaky, man. But it could make sense, you know. April 8th had a lot of stuff happening for it. It was Rex Manning Day. If you don't know who Rex Manning is, check out the movie Empire Records. It was also the TV show Twin Peaks premiered on that date. And it was opening day for the Baltimore Orioles, who got beaten by Boston. That was on Thursday. Speaking of which, it is Snivy Community Day here on Pokemon Go. It goes on till 5 o'clock. I'm just going to see if anything pops up here. Nothing yet, but my wife wants to go out for a hike. So we've been waiting for Snivy Community Day for about a year now, and now we have it. Yay. So after the show is done, I'm going to go back out. We're going to go take a walk around the neighborhood for probably about an hour or so. So we got that going on. Crap. Yeah, it's crap one. So that's good to see that maybe they're coming back to, there's 3 of them just popped up. That they're going back to the way they used to do their community days instead of themed ones. We've got a full page here, so it might be a little bit longer than an hour, but what time we got, yeah, we're going to be longer than an hour, so it's all right. A bunch of movies got new dates. the main reason why is that Paramount has announced a Star Trek film with the Chris Pine crew, hopefully all coming back for 2023, June 9th, 2023. But because of that, a lot of movies have been shifting gears, stuff like that. Top Gun Maverick has moved from July to November 19th of this year because they just want to be sure that, July might not be too early for movie theaters, despite the 48.5 million that we saw from. They're still it's a big budget film. They want to make sure it's good. So you put it the week before Thanksgiving. Makes perfect sense. So go for it. That should work for you. That in turn caused Mission Impossible 7 to move to May 27th, 2022. They're filming 7 and 8 back to back. So Mission Impossible 8 will be released on July 7th, 2023. Snake Eyes, the live action version of Snake Eyes, is supposed to start a new G.I. Joe trend, considering there's also going to be a Lady J movie making its way onto either Netflix or Amazon. But the Snake Eyes movie has moved up actually to July 23rd, 2021. So that's a good sign. Dungeons and Dragons, which we announced some of the cast on that one, has now shifted its date way far away to March 3rd, 2023. So that's kind of crazy. It's my wife's birthday, actually. The new Jackass film has moved to October 22nd, 2021. And the Bee Gees biopic sort of film that I think I talked about that has either a big star in it or a good time director in it, something like that, has moved to November 4th, 2022, just in time for Oscar consideration next year. So those are your new movie dates. So that's good. Now, Albino Robin was photographed in New Jersey by a friend from college, Anne-Marie Amer. So I've never seen an albino robin, but here we are. McDonald's is testing a crispy chicken breakfast sandwich that will have bacon and a butter honey sauce, which actually sounds pretty interesting. Lay's is going to be releasing 3 new flavors of potato chips this summer. They are wavy jerk chicken, chili mango, and summer BLT. So it'd be good to try those out. You can get paid to put anime ads on your car. That sounds like a thing that we should probably do because my wife and daughter love those types of things. Every week there seems to be a new inflatable for summer you put in your pool, your lake. Well, here's another new one. The Swimline Sun Tan Tub, which is supposed to put in a lake or beach, or not really beach really, but a lake or a pool, is supposed to be a place for you to lay down and sunbathe in a pool. But the way it is it's going to be afloat on the water, but it's also supposed to have water come on to keep you cool while you're lying in the sun. Elon Musk has photographed a picture of a monkey playing Pong. He put a brain implant in the monkey, or he didn't, but he paid for the scientist to do it, and the monkey is playing Pong. So that's kind of interesting. 100 toy race cars were photographed on a treadmill, and they create a viral demolition derby, which is kind of an interesting thing. Phoebe Waller-Bridger will be the female lead in Indiana Jones 5, and John Williams has come back to do the music for Indiana Jones 5, which is going to get started really soon. Renee Elise Goldsberg from Hamilton will be joining the She-Hulk cast of the TV show. Lay's also will have a lime and salsa potato chip coming out as well. Or I'm sorry, sea salt, lime and sea salt potato chip, not salsa. That sounds even more enticing. Toxic YouTubers get a parody movie of them starring Andrew Garfield called Mainstream. It's going to, the first trailer for it has come out. So that's kind of interesting to see that. Netflix has become the exclusive home to Sony's movie slate, including all the Spider-Man related movies that will be coming out there, and the video game movie that Tom Holland just finished as well will be getting an exclusive at Netflix as well. Actress Thandie Newton has reverted to her true given name spelling of Thandawi Newton. She tells how that came to be. There was a story about, she was playing a character that was a parody of herself. So they changed the name so it would differentiate her between her real name, but then she just kept it. But now she's reverted back to her real name. Bronze Age stone slab was found in France, which is one of the first detailed 3D maps of Europe. So apparently someone who has seen Europe carved what they saw in a slab of rock to make it look like a map. An NFL player named Philip Adams from the Raiders killed 5 people and himself. And people are now thinking that it might have to do with CTE, the concussion protocols that football players suffer through all the time, and that causes massive brain damage. This could be a sign that things aren't getting better and that they're going to need to fix that soon. The San Diego Padres baseball team was the only baseball team in the Major League Baseball to have not thrown a no-hitter. Well, guess what? This past Friday, they got their first ever no-hitter thrown by a local kid who was drafted by the Padres and came up through the ranks and is a San Diego native. So congratulations to them. A strong evidence for a new force of nature has been discovered. Not a lot of detail put into it, but a force of nature meaning like wind and gravity and stuff like that. There's a new force of nature now. Apparently that there's evidence building that there's new ones, so that could be interesting. Oregon Trail, that game everybody likes, You've Died of Dysentery, the computer game you probably played when you were a kid, stuff like that, is 50 years old this year. I'm sure once it gets closer to the actual 50th anniversary, we'll be getting all kinds of Oregon Trail stuff. But it was always a game I enjoyed along with Lemonade Stand in the early days of computers when I was younger. So good on them for that. Prince will be releasing Prince because he's dead, but an unreleased Prince album from 2011 has been discovered, and Prince's estate has decided they're going to release it this year. It is an album about social justice, which is kind of timely. So we will be getting new Prince music sometime this year. Again, not unusual. There's always rap. There's a lot of rappers who've been killed, and other musicians have had albums released posthumously of their work when they've been going through, and people have been going through their stuff, discovering these things. Hell, the Beatles, when it was, two of the Beatles, I think, they discovered a couple of unreleased tracks that they released through their through a new album. So that was kind of interesting. What is that? Oh, the Los Angeles Dodgers, have been accused of cheating after a strange substance was found on a baseball that Trevor Bauer threw. Now, they've been always one of these people that's been razzing the Houston Astros for their cheating scam. And I've had my issues with, I think that people are coming down too hard on the Houston Astros. Yes, they used trash cans to reveal what pitches were coming. They were balls or strikes, but you still have to connect with the ball. And you have to hope that the players in the field who are just as good as you are don't field it. So if you know a strike's coming right down the middle and you swing the bat as hard as you can right down the middle and you connect with it, it might not be a home run, it might not be a double, triple, single or anything. It might be a routine fly ball to the center fielder and it's an out. So where's the advantage in that? Plus, the fact is, when the Astros were in the midst of this, they were in the World Series playing the Washington Nationals, and all home teams lost their games. So if it is supposed to be an advantage to them, why isn't it? And why are you all so freaking out about it? And people still are. That might be a discussion for another time. There's a thing I want to do on my show sometime called Unpopular Opinions. I got a lot of them. I might like to. That's obviously going to go on it as well. And I'm going to end here on 2 really strong, funny stories to end this week. An anti-racist group steals a Confederate monument and says they will turn it into a toilet. An anti-racist group steals a Confederate monument and says they will turn it into a toilet unless a ransom demand is met. I think that's freaking hilarious, to be honest, because I think Confederate monuments are absolutely ridiculous, despite all the a-holes that I talked about earlier in the show that I'm not going to lose my shit on again believe that it's a destroying our history. Well, fuck off. Anyway, so I'm going to go with that. And finally, the best story of the day is one that just came out yesterday. South Carolina golfers have to consult the rule book after a golf ball lands and stays on a crocodile who has wandered onto the golf course. So the golfer hit the ball, heading for the hole, and it just so happens that a crocodile happened to be crossing, and it landed on the crocodile and stopped on him. So how are you going to play that through? You can't get up on the alligator and hit it off with the alligator. That just doesn't work. And also, you wouldn't even try to get the ball back from the alligator. He's going to try to attack you. Or is it crocodile? Alligator, crocodile. One of those creatures. It's alligator. So they had to consult the rule book about how they're going to do it. In the end, I think all you got to do is just re-hit the damn ball and just wait for the stupid crocodile alligator to make his way across. But that's just me. All right, y'all. That's it for today's episode. Thank you for watching. Actually, it's about the same length as the one. It's about a few cents more. But that's it. Next week's episode will be on a day that I'll be home alone. It'll be the Friday night, Saturday night. One of those 2 days. It won't be Sunday because we've got stuff going on. So it'll either be Friday night or Saturday night, or even Saturday afternoon. I liked that one when I did that yesterday. So we're now caught up. So this episode coming up this weekend will be stuff that happens this week. So hopefully it won't be a too crazy week, and we'll have another quick and happy episode like this one. All right, y'all. Have a good rest of your week. Be safe and enjoy yourself. And let's keep moving. See you guys.